I have cherished the idea of a democratic and free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an idea for which I hope to live for and to see realized. But my Lord, if it needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
The words that you just heard were those of Nelson Mandela, perhaps the most famous political prisoner of all time. In a period of apartheid or separation, Nelson Mandela and many other young educated black men fought against a white minority government that issued ridiculous laws to keep the black majority in South Africa contained. South Africa is a beautiful country with three main climate regions: a Mediterranean climate, a tropical climate, and a desert climate. Their main sources of income include diamond mining, farming, and mining for gold and other precious metals. In the 1600s, South Africa became an important colony to the Dutch. This new colony's people became known as the Afrikaners. They consisted of Dutch Calvinists who believed that they were superior to other races and had the right to rule the world. So, as you could guess, they immediately enslaved many blacks and stole a lot of land from many black tribes. The Dutch grew to create two new settlements that were taken by the British. But in 1910, after many conflicts between the British and the Afrikaners, the colonies all became the Republic of South Africa. Immediately, the whites created a government that gave all power to themselves. Over the years after this, laws made it more and more difficult for blacks to own property, to obtain a good education, or to earn fair wages. In 1948, things became worse when a system of apartheid, or separateness, was put into action. The many laws of apartheid allowed whites to take advantage of even better public services and housing than blacks. This new system of apartheid was pressured by the ANC, or African National Congress. It was created by well-educated black men in 1912 to protest white domination. The ANC was a non-violent group that occasionally complained to the government. This would all change when a young, ambitious black man joined up in 1944. Born on July 18, 1980, Nelson Mandela was the son of the Tembu chief in his village. At a young age, his father died. So, to give him an education and a better life, his mother sent him to live with the paramount chief of the Tembu tribe. With this family, Nelson learned at a missionary school and eventually went to college. After attending college, Mandela came home to find he would be partaking in an arranged marriage. He promptly ran away to Johannesburg. Upon arrival in Johannesburg, Mandela met Walter Sisulu, a man with a very similar rebellious character to him. Walter encouraged Mandela to go to law school and also join the ANC. After graduating law school, Mandela created the first black law firm in South Africa and fell in love with his wife Winnie. A few months after joining the ANC, Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, and many other younger members of the ANC split off to form the ANC Youth League. Immediately, this new youth league became twice as dangerous as the ANC. They held campaigns of non-cooperation and blatantly broke white laws which incited protest all over the country.
May lead to civil disobedience. Thousands of colored people went to attend a protest meeting called by the African National Congress. This campaign would urge all colored people to break the unjust laws and to court arrest.
One of the places they incited protest was in Sharpeville, a huge township for the blacks. On the morning of March 21st, 1960, a large number of black men, women, and children gathered outside the police station in a peaceful demonstration. They cheered and yelled, and eventually the police became angered and slightly scared. They opened fire on the protest. 69 people were killed, and many were injured. The Sharpeville massacre was an eye-opener for the world. It showed that the apartheid was not just an unjust system, but it also achieved many of its goals through violence. After Sharpeville, the South African government was outraged. They issued orders to maintain peace at all costs and outlawed the ANC. Nelson Mandela went into hiding at a white friend's home and continued to organize protests. However, after a while, Nelson Mandela realized perhaps the ANC's goals would be won through a military campaign. This idea of taking South Africa by violence was completely against many of the morals that the ANC was created with. But, after much debate, it was accepted. Nelson Mandela was named commander of the Spear of Africa, a new military wing of the ANC.
I think the time has come for us to consider, in the light of our experiences, whether the methods which we have applied so far are adequate.
Mandela set out on a sabotage campaign and attacked many unoccupied targets such as power stations and roads. He became the most wanted man in South Africa, evading arrest. At this time, he was known as the Black Pimpernel, named after the Scarlet Pimpernel, a character in classic literature. After an elaborate game of cat and mouse, Mandela escaped abroad and received military training. He asked many governments, including the English, for support. After achieving much abroad, Mandela smuggled his way back into the country to be with his family and with the ANC. Shortly after his arrival back into the country, Mandela was found and captured. Having no evidence against him, Mandela was initially charged with a simple 5-year sentence, but shortly after his arrest, the police found the ANC underground headquarters in a farmhouse. Everyone on the premise was arrested, and papers were found that showed that Mandela had been leading a sabotage campaign and inciting rebellion, an offense punishable by death. Mandela and his close friends realized that there was little hope for survival. They used the Rivonia trial to testify that their intentions were pure and that they had no intention of fighting for black domination. They were starting to become important martyrs to the rebellion. So, instead of killing the ANC members, the court decided to sentence them to life in prison on Robben Island. These men set off to the place where they would spend the next 27 years of their lives. After Nelson Mandela was arrested, there was a lull in black resistance. Meanwhile, in prison, Nelson Mandela transformed. In the early years of his incarceration, he was demanded respect and refused to do work. The apartheid government responded to this by mentally torturing Mandela. They showed him fake news articles about Winnie and his family. Surprisingly, this treatment had a positive effect on Mandela. He changed from a rebellious revolutionary to a cool-headed visionary. He began to treat his guards civilly and did his labor well. His guards then began to treat him with the respect he had earned. At this time, Nelson Mandela had a realization. He understood that by treating his guards civilly, he had swayed the most racist people in South Africa at the time to accept him. He decided if this would work with the guards, it could work with the apartheid government. Unfortunately, he could not relay this message to his people. The situation outside of his prison was growing worse again, with killings and terrible violence. The new generations of the 1970s and 80s were bringing a new and more dangerous protest to South Africa. It was difficult to go a day without seeing violence outside the rich communities of the whites. South Africa needed a new leader, and fast.
The government has taken a firm decision to release Mr. Mandela unconditionally.
Finally, when South Africa seemed on the brink of civil war, Nelson Mandela was separated from his comrades for negotiations. Through secret meetings, he was asked for help and forgiveness from the white government that he hated. Mandela knew he was now in a position of power. He first demanded the freedom of his comrades before he would cooperate for a solution to the violence. This was the largest turning point of the entire revolution. Nelson Mandela was freed from prison in 1990. Upon release, he and F.W. de Klerk, the white president of South Africa, worked to defuse the bomb of hatred South Africa had become. For their efforts, they won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993. Finally, on May 10, 1994, the day Nelson Mandela had waited for came. After all the hardship of 27 years of his life in prison, Nelson Mandela was elected president of South Africa. He immediately made new reforms within the government. However, things did not instantly become perfect. Violence still filled the streets and poverty remained. Nelson Mandela continued to work with F.W. de Klerk and many influential black men like Bishop Desmond Tutu, winner of the Nobel Peace Prize in 1984, to form bonds between blacks and whites. It was a long, difficult process until finally they had a large breakthrough. In 1995, the host nation, South Africa, beat the favorite team, New Zealand, to win the Rugby World Cup in front of a home crowd in Johannesburg.
For the drop. Has he got it? Yes, it's over! That is it! The final whistled in. South Africa win this Rugby World Cup.
The stadium and streets were filled with elated fans, black and white alike. And because the team was made up of black and white members, people believed that if this team could achieve so much with mixed races working together, then why couldn't their country? Over the next few years, Nelson Mandela and the ANC achieved many of their goals for equality. Most importantly, all races in South Africa were now able to vote. As a result, many black men and women were elected into high government positions. Rules limiting non-whites that were set in the apartheid regime were abolished. An organization was established to build new neighborhoods for black families living in poverty. These neighborhoods combined blacks and whites in a community setting. A better school system was established, allowing children of all economic status and race to learn together. This enabled many people to become literate and to pursue a higher education. In 1999, Nelson Mandela was succeeded by Thabo Mbeki. In 2004, at the age of 85, Nelson Mandela retired from the public eye. He left to live with his third wife, Graca Machel, outside of the town of Kunu, where he grew up. History will remember Nelson Mandela as a kind man with loving heart and a warm smile that saved the country.